Boys and girls, welcome to our mathematics investigation on 2D objects. To begin our investigation, I'd like you to go to our class blog where you will find an image like the one above. Click on the image and it will take you to a YouTube clip. This YouTube clip is to remind you of the expectation of recordings whilst you're doing your investigation on 2D objects. Boys and girls, on this page you'll find a list of what you need to learn about 2D objects in our investigation. You'll be identifying right-angled isosceles and equilateral and scalene triangles. You'll be identifying and drawing regular and irregular 2D shapes. You'll be identifying and naming parts of a circle, enlarging and reducing shapes, pictures and maps, and identifying shapes that have rotational symmetry. Our investigation will also include some learning about angles. You'll be classifying angles as right, acute, obtuse, reflex, straight or a revolution. You'll be measuring in degrees and constructing angles using a protractor. Your first activity in this investigation will require you to use an online dictionary. You can find a link to this dictionary on our class blog, or you might have already accessed this blog in some of your other learning. First thing you'll need to do is look up and write a definition. In this you'll need to include a drawing and a label for each of the 2D objects listed below. Boys and girls, you might choose to do this activity using your iPad, or you might choose to do it in your maths recording book. Whatever suits best for you. Once you've finished activity 1, boys and girls, it's really important that you check in with your teacher and get some feedback about your learning so far. So either take your iPad or your workbook over to your teacher and get them to check in and tell you if you're ready to continue with our investigation. To give you some information to continue on with our investigation, I'd like you to click on the image that you see on the screen here on our blog and watch the YouTube clip about angles. This will give you the information needed to continue on with our investigation. With all that information, you're now ready to launch into activity 2 of our investigation. Using the information that you've just heard and an online dictionary, I'd like you to research a definition of the different types of angles and some of the measuring tools for angles. You can record your definitions with drawings and labels. These are the angles that I'd like you to investigate. Boys and girls, when choosing how to record this activity, just consider whether or not it will be your iPad or your recording book, which will be the best learning tool. Now it's time to check back in with your teacher and get some feedback on those angles. To give you some information that you'll need, I'd like you to find this image on our class blog. When you click on it, it'll take you to a YouTube clip which will show you how to measure angles using a protractor. This is a really important skill that you'll need for the next part of our investigation. Now it's time to put some of that new learning into action. I'd like you to take some time to just practice drawing angles and measuring and labelling them. I've given you a couple of examples here, but I'd like you to find your own way of recording either on your iPad or in your maths recording book. Okay, time to check back in with your teacher for some feedback. If you're up for a challenge, I'd like you to keep going with our investigation into 2D shapes. I'd like you to choose 6 shapes from your list of 2D shapes. Draw each of them and use the protractor to measure and name each of the angles inside the shape. I've given you an example of an easy one here. This is a square, and you can see the 90-degree angles recorded in each of the corners of this shape. To make this recording even better, what you could do is actually name the angles as right angles. Okay, time to check back in with the teacher and get some more feedback on your learning.